Hello and welcome back to
Hang on,
the
were you,
port.
were you were you whispering something to yourself there?
I was just counting myself three, two, one, whatever. Like that, right?
Very professional. Keep it going. Keep it going. Come on, keep it going.
Hello and welcome back to the Portadown preview
Hang
show.
on now. I can't let it go, mate. Sorry. Is that something Michael Clark taught you?
We'll give it away.
Is it? Just count yourself in.
I'm not giving Michael credit for all my good work. Welcome back to the Portadown preview show. This is the first time in 3 weeks that myself and Dave have actually been on the show together. So, Dave, how are you keeping?
Doing very well. Counted myself in there as well. I don't know if you noticed that.
And you're right on cue as well.
It's no
So,
doing powerful well. Family are annoying me this evening. Found it hard to get the kids to bed. But actually, when you do live commentary at Shamrock Park, Big Mark sort of counts you in, knocks the window at you. And you're like, Mark, it's like 10-3. What am I going to talk about before the football comes on here?
uh, I'm sure you find something to say no matter what. Like,
Mm-hmm. Sarcastic usually.
so yeah, it's been 3 weeks. It's myself and you are going to do the show tonight. I was thinking about inviting Johnny Dunlop on again, but then after he compared us to Larne last week, I was a bit disappointed, and I did warn him he'll never be back on the show again. Like
The
so,
thing is, too, if you have him on 3 weeks in a row, then you'll have to start paying him. So
uh, uh, so yes, it's 3 weeks since we've been last on the show together. So I think it was 2 weeks ago was I got my dates mixed up and forgot that I was going out for dinner for Kirsty's birthday, and it didn't suit Johnny to come on the next night, which was my fault. And then last week you couldn't make it, so here we are once again, the old team back
I'll be
together
honest,
again.
it's not that I couldn't make it. I just couldn't be bothered. The football was that dire. I didn't want to come on and talk about it.
Uh, well, honesty is always refreshing at the end of the day. So we'll get straight into it. At the weekend there, Portadown took on Larne, and we ended up with a 2-2 draw. We conceded a late goal. However, obviously there's a bit more stoppage time than usual. So I don't think it was as late a goal as other weeks recently. Like so, to each. Dave, would you have taken a 2-2 draw before the game? Are you happy enough, or are you quite disappointed to have conceded so late again?
No, the conceding late thing, I don't get into that too much. A game lasts for 93 or 94 minutes, or in the case of the match against Larne, quite a long time with John Heron sort of going down on the pitch off the ball and having to be taken to hospital. So it felt like a very long game, and it was on commentary with Paddy McNally as well. And that's a pleasure. Paddy loves it. He really gets into a game of football. I don't think he likes watching. I think he'd rather be playing and heading every ball. But he he was in good form on Saturday. Well, no, I mean, was I disappointed after the match? Yes. Before the match, would I have taken a 2-2 draw? I would have bitten your hand off for it. And the funny thing about it is, whenever we play Larne now, it's different when maybe you play Cliftonville, say, or Linfield. You sort of think, that we've an outside chance of maybe scrapping a draw or something. But I've got to say now, whenever we play Larne, especially at home, but away too, I don't think most supporters at Shamrock Park on Saturday, I believe, expected us to get something out of the match. Even though Larne are who they are, and I know we're a wee bit obsessed about them, and we're going to have to shake that off sometime. But they are who they are with their money and their players and their full-time setup. But I've never feared a match against Larne, and I don't think our players fear a match against Larne. I don't think Tippy fears a match against Larne, because I think when they come to us, they know they're going to get a battle. I almost think we step over the line with a little bit of advantage over them, because I think they fear us. I think they hate Lee Bonus and
You
Adam Sally
and
getting.
you
I mean,
and me.
I, I think they hate coming up against our players. I think they hate getting roughed up. I'm not even talking roughed up in a unfair laws of the game. I'm just talking about putting them under pressure, hunting them down, hitting them hard. Going in through their back a wee bit, making sure shoulders are left on shoulders, all of that kind of stuff. I really just don't think they like that. They like to have a little bit of time on the ball at the back, and I think we really do put them under pressure. So, all in all, I was happy with the point. Where we are in the league table, 3 points would have been massive. I wasn't overly concerned about conceding a late goal because it doesn't matter if you score in the 3rd minute or the 92nd minute. We were under pressure there for periods in the second half, and then McDaid comes on, and to be fair, he's slipped in behind Adam McCallum, and then he's cut across in front of him and headed it into the top corner. Well, headed it into the top of the net, So from a Larne point of view, that was a great wee goal, and I think they'll be very relieved to have gone up the road with a point as well.
I was actually quite shocked that the game itself wasn't live on BBC Sport NI, seeing that the cameras just seem to follow Larne about every time. Have you seen the new schedule for the games? But we'll not get into that. No, listen.
Mate, hold on. Now you've got friends at the BBC. Like, you need to be sorting this out.
Do you not think I've been in the air? Like, no. Listen, I think, like you say, Larne are a good side. Before the game, if you were offered a draw, again, it's like you say, it's one of them games where I know we're going to talk about Crusaders, and it's one of them. Crusaders away, for example, is one of them games you're just like, in recent years we've been getting chinned there, right? And whereas the Larne games, I don't know what it is. Like, as you say, it seems to be they're like even games. There's plenty of draws, or maybe they might win by 1 goal. Maybe we'll win by 1 goal, but they're really good games. Which is a credit to both sides at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. But it's a game
but mostly a credit to us.
Of course. But it's just I think because I know, like, in a sense that the match obviously is 90 minutes, and it doesn't. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you concede in the 1st minute or the 90th minute. You've still conceded. But I think it's just, if it was the other way round, and they were winning 2-1, and we were to come back and score a last-minute equaliser, I think confidence-wise that would actually do the world of good, because you're battling and you're grinding and you don't give up, and then you get the late equaliser. Yeah. I do think our luck is going to change, because there's been a few games where I have conceded late on, and it's been quite demoralising, but we've actually put decent performances in and stuff. So, I think before the game, if you'd have been offered a draw, I think a lot of people would take it, because Larne would be expected to beat us, and on paper they should beat us. But like you say, we seem to lift it against them. So
one other thing, there's a couple of other things about the game. Adam Solly played absolutely brilliant. I think him and Lee have formed a real good. I know they're both not playing as strikers off each other, but I think they formed a really good understanding there. I think they're encouraging each other on. They're both of them are really getting stuck in there. Adam scored 2 goals, fair play to him. But I'll say this: I believe the difference in the 2 teams on Saturday was that our goalkeeper won us a point, and their goalkeeper lost them 2 points. When it came to, Ronan Hale went early on. He went through twice on Jethron 1-on-1, and Jethron saved them both. Whereas, Adam's first goal, Adam strikes a ball very hard. It was a tight enough angle, and it goes through the goalkeeper. It sort of hits off his arm on the way through, and a second goal, tight angle again, goes through the goalkeeper's legs. So, if the goalkeeper does better there, he keeps us at bay. So shout out to Jethron Barr. He was brilliant on the 1-on-1s. Distribution was good. He made one sort of big, didn't he? A big diving high hand up into the top corner save as well. So for me, that ultimately, that was the difference in us having 1 point or 0 points. He kept them out. So well done to Adam, and well done to Jethron. Unfortunately, I think he pulled his hamstring then during the week in practice. So it's that time of year, isn't it, where players are playing twice a week, training hard. The weather's cold. It's very important to be. What am I talking about? But in terms of like warming up and warming down, and hamstrings can go easily, and wet, heavy pitches, cold weather, all of that as well. So, I was happy with the point on Saturday. It was an enjoyable afternoon. Decent enough crowd at the game. It was a point gained for sure.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad result in any stretch of the imagination. I think, at the end of the day, as you say, Jethlin's made a couple of great saves and stuff. So I think a point's a fair result there. And hopefully something that Portadown can build on, and we'll take on Larne again at the end of January. So realistic, it's just only a month and a bit away now. Like when you consider we're already into December, we play them on the 29th of January, the very last Saturday in January down at Inver Park. So
okay, all right.
Fingers crossed we can go down there again and put in a decent performance against them.
Well, listen, I hope is that a daytime or a nighttime match?
It's daytime.
Daytime. Well, hopefully it'll be dark enough still. Hopefully they'll put on a light display for us and give out a load of flags to the supporters and stuff for us coming down the road. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, indeed. Right. Our second result of
I'm just laughing at my own jokes here. Don't worry about
it. Listen. Sorry, before
can I say as well? Sorry, the one thing it was difficult commentating with Paddy on Saturday was he likes quite a few of the Larne players. He's played up there. He's quite friendly with some of them. So when he was saying the odd positive thing, it was like, right, okay.
I know, and in all seriousness, I know we'll have a bit of a joke and a laugh, but all that kind of carry on and all. But right enough,
we mean it.
Oh yeah. But in all seriousness, at the same time, we wish John Heron well. You don't wish that on anybody. So.
Absolutely.
Fingers crossed, everything's okay there. And wish you a speedy recovery. So our second result of this set of games was a defeat, a 2-0 defeat away to Crusaders. It hasn't been a happy hunting ground for the Ports in recent years. There's been in the end of it for a few hammerings, but obviously that's not the case there last night. But we came away with it's always disappointing to lose, but I think there's plenty of positives to take from the game last night, Dave.
Yeah, I think so. I'm sorry you missed it. I know I was talking to your dad. He said you were just feeling a wee bit tired and you couldn't make it out of the house. So, no, what he actually said was no, he wouldn't come out in the rain.
I wouldn't want to get my hair wet now, would I?
I was going to say it's not strange, but strange enough matchup at Seaview. What do we get? We got beat 4-0 and 5-0 up there in the last year. Last night we finished at the end of a 2-0 defeat. Which wasn't
victory in a sense.
It wasn't massively disappointing. However, what I will say is I was standing with Mark and Johnny and Matt, who was operating the camera, and it was cold and wet. It wasn't a nice evening. Very poor crowd on both sides, really. But one of those matches, it was just a horrible evening, and it sort of got 5 minutes into the match, and I turned to Mark and said, "Here, we're 5 minutes in. We haven't conceded here. It's all good." And it actually turned out we had a really good first half. I thought we took it to them again. Adam and Lee up front, O'Sheen. I thought we just really we hunted them. We put them under pressure. We didn't give them time on the ball. And we had chances, we had chances in the first half. And of course, then, you can't play against us without scoring. Paul Hidley gets a goal. It's kind of, I do feel like it was against the run of play. I think we had opportunities to get rid of the ball, to deal with the ball, get it out for a throw, make a tackle. And the ball falls, he takes it in the chest and sticks it past Doherty. And that was disappointing. However, I just thought overall in the first half we played quite well. It looked like two similar teams. There was I think we actually edged the first half really. And we got through, we created chances, had corners, so we weren't on the back foot by any stretch of the imagination. And obviously Stephen Baxter's absolutely hammered them at halftime. And I moved around behind the net that we were shooting into in the second half. And I don't think I saw too much of the play from there, really, and with a couple of chances. But, they took theirs, and it's one of the, you go down the road to Seaview currently, they're flying high, we're struggling a wee bit, and you go down to support your team, get out of the house for the evening, have a bit of crack. And, talking to Johnny Dunlop on the bus, we were kind of like, when you're sitting at home and you're thinking, am I going to go down tonight? You think, well, I've watched us get hammered down there. What if we don't go tonight? And tonight's the night we scrape a 1-0 victory or something like that. So we got beat 2-0. I thought we played really well in the first half, had some spells in the second half, but you were talking about luck there, I think in the first half, we were with the wind. I think Lee Bonus hit a shot, it hit the crossbar and came out. And the way it came out, I thought the wind, hit the crossbar and came out a bit. And I thought the wind was taking it in. What did the wind do? The wind took it onto the crossbar again, so it hit the crossbar twice. And that's just the way it goes sometimes. But again, maybe we just, I think sometimes important chances, if you miss those, they come back to haunt you. And Crusaders went 2-0 up, and that was it. Game over.
You all right there?
Yeah, I'm struggling for breath here. I'm talking too much.
Yeah, listen, I agree with you. I think it's a case of, I think our luck, say it is going to change, but hopefully it's going to change. When you get that wee break, Lee was on a great scoring run last season. It hasn't quite happened for him, with his goal return this season thus far, but he's been putting in brilliant performances still. I think, once he gets that goal, hopefully he really kick on and stuff, and, our luck can change. And then it's great to see Adam Sally, starting to get in amongst the goals again. And
as well as that, there's other players in the team there who I would expect to be coming through with goals, defenders scoring from corners, Oisin scored one. Who'd he score one against? Carrick,
yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to see him probably get on the score sheet a little bit more. I think it's coming. So, yes, your strikers are your strikers, although Adam's playing on the right a wee bit, but they do an awful lot of work. Yes, they're paid to score goals, but we wouldn't get in positions. We wouldn't have opportunities to take the lead in matches without their work rate. But I would like to see us scoring a few more goals, yeah, for sure. You're saying you hope our luck might change. I hope our luck might change in January if we can bring in a couple of players to sort of strengthen us, that might be the turning of our luck.
Well, here's hoping, because, at the end of the day, I think the other teams in the round there are going to strengthen as well. I know we were joking about it last night. It's like, okay, we lost, but at least Dungannon and Warren Point could beat as well. But obviously, you don't want to be relying on other teams' results. But I would say, I don't know the ins and outs of what goes on in other clubs, but I would be massively surprised if Warren Point didn't strengthen in January. And they're obviously not too far behind us, and we've got a big game against them in a few weeks here. But hopefully we think
with Warren Point too, like with the League of Ireland being on their break, their season's over. There's always a few players floating about there who are looking at a different challenge, or who maybe haven't got a contract at a team. It's easier for them to get the Warren Point than it is maybe to come up the road to, no desire maybe to come up to Portadown or Dungannon or somewhere like that. So yeah, it'd be good. And of course, touchwood, we'll have Paddy McNally back. That'll feel like a new signing. There's other players out injured or struggling, carrying knocks and all of that as well. So if we could get 2 experienced Irish League players in, strong boys, and I think that would really just help to steady us and give us that extra bit, because I think at the minute, if you have a player unwell or you have a player out injured, there's a lot of that going on at the minute. So I think we just need a few more bodies to steady us up a bit,
Well, this is it. And as well, on top of that, competition is always good. Like, fighting for one place, it always brings the best out in each other. So competition's always good as well for that. So yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And listen, the Crusader, I don't want to say it's a free hit because there's no such thing as a free hit really. Like, but it would have been nice to have got something from it. But at the end of the day, we weren't expected to get anything. But there's definitely positives to take there into the next game. So the next game is against Glentoran, but we're not going to get into that just yet. So this week's this week's weekly feature is.
I'm going to pretend I'm surprised by this.
So this week's weekly feature is going to be opposition player you feared the most, and that can be for whatever reason, from whatever era. So Dave, you have the floor. Give us your player you feared the most, whether they were on the ball, whatever they're going to do with it, or for whatever reason. Go.
Can I pick two? Can I pick retro and current?
Okay.
Thank you very much. Current player, I'd say Paul Hidley. He just always looks very dangerous against us, even when he hasn't been in a good run of form. He just always scores against us. For the last 10 years, he's just been a very creative player who scores goals against us. And I hate to see him on the ball, running at our defenders, you know. He scored some wonder goals against us. I just think anything he hits goes into the top corner against us. So I hate to see it. So I fear him for his goals, right?
Right. Can I jump in there a second? So funny, obviously this will include a couple of boys that have been guests on this show before. So in Carrick, there used to be a Sunday league, and we had a team, and like Potsy played in the same team as me, and then Bobo, who's been on the show, obviously a Carrick Rangers fan, also had a team, and his team was called Barcelona. Right, says it all. But there was one week we were playing them, and it used to be built up as like a bit of a derby game because we're all in our big group of mates. And Michael Clark actually would have played for Barcelona as well. And this is sort of like a bit
strong lineup there.
So you have me and Potsy on the red side, and then Michael and Bobo on the orange side. And there was one day we were going down, we're like confident of getting the win here, getting the 3 points. And we went down, and Bobo unveiled his star signing for the game. And who was it?
Paul Hidley.
And he ran. This is back when he was playing for Carrick, and he ran rings around us.
Unbelievable.
He was unbelievable. That's one of the superlatives that I used for him. I think he scored a hat-trick in us, and he just tore us a new one.
I'm not saying he's the best. I'm not saying he's the best player in the league or anything like that. I'm just saying when he gets on the ball and he's running at us, I just like, your heart sinks. You know,
he's so direct.
Yeah,
he's so direct. Like brilliant player.
Yeah.
So.
And the other one, retro player, I'm going to say is Kirk Hunter. I just feared him because I was a child, and he maybe used to come on for the cruise with 5 or 10 minutes to go, and just built like a brick shit house, tattoos, you know, and he would stand on the touchline with his arms out like that. I think he actually maybe works for our chairman now. But I used to just fear him. You know, we obviously, you know, he's injured our players in the past and things like that. He was just, for me, he was just the ultimate hard man. It was almost, you know, you're talking about a player who you fear. I was almost scared of him. As a young teen, you just thought, oh, flip, he is an absolute tank. He could come on and do anything here.
Yeah. I remember him as a kid as well. And he was a big guy. Like, and he's obviously one of their most successful players ever. He's a cult hero, Crusaders. And he could do a fair bit of damage, so to speak. Like, so, yeah.
What about you?
It's, do you know what? It's not so much you like feared him, but he always put in a performance against us. And now he went on to join us for sort of like an ill-fated spell. I think you know who I'm going to say, and it's Andy Smith, back from whenever he played for Glentoran. Sorry, and back in that era where it was like us and them going at it for like, you know, leagues and cups and stuff, and we're always playing each other in semi-finals and all as well. It just sort of seemed to be he would pop up, you know, with an important goal for them if they won. You know, if there was a melee, he'd be involved. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're 100% right.
If they're pretty sure Mickey Collins binned him a few times as well.
Hopefully.
So yeah, just back in the day, and listen, you know what, people could have mouthed off about him as much as they want. At the end of the day, he was a very good player for Glentoran, and I just pour down Glentoran for me. It's it's my favorite. It's my I despise Glentoran.
Okay.
I make no.
Father, forgive me, for I have sinned. I'm in confessional here. When Andy Smith played for Northern Ireland after he'd been at Glentoran, maybe he was still at Glentoran, I booed him when he came onto the pitch for Northern Ireland, as I couldn't see past it. I just could not see past it. But fair play to him. It just means he was a very good striker who we all hated.
He was a very good striker, but do you know what the funny thing was?
He's a decent spot, but in footballing terms, we hated him.
Whenever he signed for us, so this would have been in 2007, this was kept under wraps, and I actually got a lift down that day, early to the game. I'll not say who gave me a lift, but I got a lift down, and
Ronnie McFall, no.
I was down at the ground really, really early that day, and right enough, this car pulled up in the car park, and he got out of the car, and there was no other Portadown fans about bar me, and I just sort of stood there and was like, oh, what's he doing down here?
The penny dropped.
It was like, he's clearly signing for us, and right enough, he did. Obviously it wasn't at the end of the season we got demoted and stuff and all, and then the next season I think he only played a handful of games, and it wasn't exactly welcomed back by Ports fans, and I can see why, because that's a whole different story. But whenever he played for the Glens, he was a handful and a threat, and he always seemed to score. And he was a massive factor in their success around then. But I think on the games where we did actually beat them, I think he would have been one of the reasons why the results, the games we won against the Glens were so satisfying, because he was really smug, and he did love giving it to the Portadown fans. So
he was a big baby. Big baby he was, yeah. Very good.
There you go. Andy Smith.
I wasn't expecting to talk about Andy Smith tonight, but there you go.
Yeah, well, there you go. And then, right enough, we're playing Glentoran this weekend, albeit we're recording this on Wednesday night, and Glentoran's game against Korean last night was called off because of COVID procedures and whatnot. So at this moment of time, we're not actually sure if the game...
COVID procedures? What are the... What I want to know is, what are the procedures? Because as far as I'm concerned, the procedures were, if you have a couple of COVID cases, which allegedly Glentoran had, the Belfast Telegraph reported it before they removed it. Are they not supposed to
play on?
The rest of the players play on, and go to the reserves, go to the under-20s, whatever you have to do to fill your squad, and then all of a sudden we're calling a match off. Now, maybe there's more to it. I obviously don't know the ins and outs of it. But when you play for a provincial team, not that I play for us, but if you support a provincial team, it's really hard to get away from the fact that, we don't sing same old Belfast for a reason. There always seems to be one rule for some Belfast teams and one rule for others. So I'm saying that in full knowledge that I don't know the ins and outs of it. However, has anybody been told the procedures have changed? Were they changed just for Glentoran? I don't know what's going on, and there's no point in being silent about it and hushing it all up, because it's going to come out sometime. It always does. And I think the powers that be should have come out and said, here's the reason why the match is off. But of course, it's cloak and daggers as usual. Is that the phrase? Cloak and daggers? Cloak and dagger? Yeah, cloak and dagger.
It's all cloak and dagger.
I don't know if you agree with me there or not.
Listen, my feelings on the matter. In fact, I'm going to get a pen and paper out and add that to my list of reasons to hate Glentoran Football Club. I think I'm on number 4046 now.
No, do you know what I'm saying though? And then I don't believe that we'll find out if we've got a match on against Glentoran on Saturday until sometime on Friday, which is ridiculous too.
But
Let's
then again,
communicate. Let's have communication. None of this, you know,
but
hush
at the
hush
end of the
stuff.
day, does it surprise you?
No, I mean it doesn't surprise me, but if you enter a football competition, you know, Coleraine were due to play at Glentoran on Tuesday night, right? Prepared for the game. I don't think it was until the afternoon that the match was called off. I'm sure nothing changed between. You know what I mean? It just didn't. It seemed strange. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but if you're following procedure, the procedure is you crack on. You put some under 20s on the bench. You know,
Well, listen,
unless every goalkeeper at the club was down ill or something like that. You know,
put your under 14s goalkeeper in there. That's just the way it is.
give us a chance.
No, but like right enough, I think the league itself, Netball and whatnot, they really want to push the Irish League and make it like a really professional league and follow the example of other leagues, right? And I know sometimes the principle is the same, albeit I appreciate that the levels and the standards ain't the same. But you're going, say, compare it to the Premier League in England. Look at the start of the season. Arsenal had a load of COVID cases, and it was like they had to go out and play the game against Brentford. So I'm just using that as an example. So why not? Why is it not the same here? Do you know what I mean? And then is it not?
I don't know. I don't know. And I have a feeling we'll never.
Did Celtic not have to play a team of like under 20s last season in a game as well?
I think so. Do you know what? We'll never find out, and that'll be that. And there's a good chance our match will be off on Saturday. By the time this goes out, we'll probably know. Although it might go out on Thursday, we may not know. But I've already said to the family, I'm not bothered going to the Oval on Saturday. We'll have a nice family day and do something Christmassy. Brackets brownie points, So
well,
we'll see.
You could go like the good old days. You could go to the Oval, wrap a few bricks up in tinsel, and throw them instead. Does that not count as something Christmassy now?
How dare you? That's disgraceful. Listen, if the game's on, it should be a good game. It should be a battle. We obviously love going to the Oval. Our players will be up for it, certainly. 2-2 the last time down there, was it?
Yeah, 2-2. That's the Glentoran away brings out the worst in me.
Of course, rightly so. But I just, if the game's on, it'll be a good game. It'll be a clinker. I don't think we've anything to fear from Glentoran. They've maybe improved a wee bit over the last weeks. They're starting to win matches. But again, they'll be under pressure, not us. So you go down the road, you play hard, you give 100%, see what happens. Yeah. And that's just the supporters I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, listen, I echo everything you say there. I think, again, it's strange because, well, it's not really strange, but see, the way you go to some places and you sort of, it's not that you don't expect anything, but maybe our results down there haven't been the best. But I always go to the Oval thinking we can get something here today. I think Glentoran's definitely a team where the players really lift it for. And I think not necessarily it's a case of smelling blood, but I think the players know it's a game that the Portadown fans, they really want to see us performing because obviously, listen, the whole needle with Glentoran goes back to the 80s, and it's still there for a lot of fans, and I think Glentoran's definitely one of the games that the players seem to lift it for. So fingers crossed, but who knows whether we're going to be playing there or not. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what else we can say about it, because it's up in the air, literally. Yeah. So
it is. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, fingers crossed for a win. So yeah,
we're cutting out. We're cutting out here. I don't know if it's me or you. I've lost you there for a second, but
can you hear me now?
Frozen in a real class face though, so hopefully this goes out.
Superb. Well, hopefully you set the screen up better than I did last week, because I once again forgot whenever it was me setting up the Zoom stuff to put the split screen on, so anytime somebody spoke, it just changed every time. So yeah, I do it every single time. I'm just like, I've done it again, but sure. But yes, listen, yeah, I think we should just wrap it up there, because we've only one game to preview this week, so It's been a blast. Oh, before we go, don't forget to like and subscribe to We Are Reports TV YouTube channel. And then you can check us out on Spotify, Anchor, and Apple Podcasts. And yeah, you can leave us a review if you want. I think we got some bad reviews from Larne fans and Glenavon fans and Glentoran fans last week. Probably my fault, but again, I don't really care. So,
just to be clear, you said Anchor there, didn't you?
Oh yes.
Okay, good. Okay.
This is
right,
a
I have to
PG
go.
show. Right. Yeah. Listen, as always, Dave, it's been an absolute pleasure.
You too.
We'll find out soon if we're playing the Glens on Saturday. Fingers crossed, Portadown. If we do have a game on Saturday, get a big crowd up, get the fans behind the team, and fingers crossed we can get a nice wee victory in East Belfast. So, cheers. Goodbye.
Bye.